This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I am Nisha Taylor. Fire crews responded to a call for a possible explosion at a South Fargo home earlier this evening. Emergency crews were dispatched to the 5200 block of 50th Avenue South around 4:30 p.m. Some neighbors say they did see smoke and heard an explosion. And a VNL reporter who was on the scene at the time said the possible homeowner where the explosion may have happened appeared to have soot on his face. No further details have been released at this time. Stay with Valley News Live as those details become available. And a 17-year-old girl is now in police custody for her involvement in a shots fired incident that happened last night outside a Bemidji apartment complex. Authorities were called to the 2800 Ridgeway Avenue Northwest shortly before 7:30. When officers arrived, a 47-year-old man who was exiting the building told police he had been shot at. Multiple witnesses described to authorities a juvenile male fled the area in a white car. A short time later, law enforcement found that vehicle and arrested the 17-year-old female driver. After further investigation, officers were also able to identify two 17-year-old boys as suspects. Bemidji police say they believe this was an isolated incident and there is no risk to the public safety. Officials confirmed 3 people died in a single-engine plane crash in Victoria, Minnesota yesterday evening. The plane departed from Alexandria Municipal Airport and was en route to Eden Prairie when it went down just before 6, crashing into an unoccupied home and vacant lot. NTSB officials said today that crucial parts of the plane were found 2 blocks from the crash site. Additionally, early findings indicate that the pilot contacted the control tower and received landing clearance before the plane started changing directions and dropping altitude. No injuries were reported on the ground. The cause of the crash is still unclear. And this afternoon, a trailer being hauled by a vehicle on I-29 sparked a fire in a ditch near Grand Forks. Just before 2 p.m., the vehicle was traveling south on the interstate when a tire blew out the trailer. As the vehicle continued on I-29, sparks from the wheel set a ditch on fire before the driver was able to pull over. The sparks set off a fire in 3 different spots within the ditch for about 3/4 of a mile. The driver was cited for operating an unsafe vehicle. And a 28-year-old man is facing charges for driving under the influence after a crash in Walsh County near Fordville. The man was traveling on County Road 19 when he crossed the eastbound lane of traffic and then hit a bridge guardrail. The driver suffered serious injuries. He was taken to a local hospital to be treated. About 15 BNSF railway cars carrying coal derailed this afternoon outside Bismarck. Law enforcement were called to the scene of the derailment just before 3:15. The cars are blocking off both sides of the tracks. BNSF officials say a crew is on their way to begin the cleanup process. An official cause has yet to be released. Emergency responders say it could be days before the tracks are cleared. There are no reports of injuries at this time. The trial for Chad Isaak, the man accused of murdering 4 people in Mandan in 2019, began last week. Both state and defense teams continue to build out their sides of the story. Here's a recap of what happened in week 1 of the trial.
Because of the publicity of this case, the court was concerned with selecting a fair jury. They took 2 days and selected 12 jurors. Then both prosecutors and defense laid out their sides of the story in opening statements.
You will know who broke into RJR. You will know who used an RJR vehicle during his escape. And you will know who caused the murders of Robert Faulkner, of William Cobb, of Lois Cobb, and of Adam Fuhrer.
There is no why for Dr. Chad Isaak, and when you look at the facts, this case quickly unravels.
Then witness testimony began. The state set the scene of the crime.
And it looked like he might have slipped and fell and hit his head.
Lois Cobb's injuries really stuck out to me.
As the states worked through the scene to set a timeline and establish what evidence was collected, the defense questioned how secure the scene has been and how evidence has been handled.
And there was also a driver's license of Adams that was not any longer in the wallet, correct?
Correct.
And you seized both items and you did not test them, you said because the person was wearing gloves, correct?
Correct.
And the person that was wearing gloves is the person you see on the video, correct?
Correct.
And these crimes are not on the video.
The state started to explore the suspect profile.
Considering what you saw as far as those timestamps, did you believe that it was a possibility for only one suspect to have committed the acts at RJR crime scene?
Yes.
But the defense questioned other relationships.
Someone had overheard you, meaning Jackie, make a comment that there would never be a divorce from Robert and that she would have him taken care of, talking about you say that to Jackie, correct?
Lieutenant Haug said that was correct, but he didn't think Jackie's words were serious.
The state has been working their way through the evidence chronologically and is expected to next explore the investigation beyond the crime scene.
Monday, the state plans to call medical examiner Dr. Macello to the stand. The trial is scheduled to run through August 20th. And people are flocking to the town of Sturgis, where a massive motorcycle rally is now underway. But there are concerns the event could turn into a COVID super spreader, as an estimated 700,000 people are expected to show up. Today, Dr. Fauci chastised those attending the event and stated the event will likely cause a surge in new COVID-19 cases. Healthcare professionals rallied today to speak out against local hospitals mandating workers get a COVID-19 vaccine. Valley News Team's JC Dodd spoke with a nurse who believes they should have the right to choose.
All we want is a choice, guys. That's all. All we want is a choice. We want the freedom to choose. We don't want to be forced to have these vaccines that we don't even know are safe yet.
That's what ER nurse Dominique Martin wants the community to hear loud and clear. After both Sanford and Essentia announced they will require all employees to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Martin says she hasn't gotten the vaccine yet because it hasn't been approved by the FDA. She thinks there needs to be more studies for long-term side effects.
It's not even FDA approved at this point. I support vaccines, but we need to know what we're putting into our bodies, and I think we have the right to choose whether to do that or not.
Martin says she will not be getting the vaccine anytime soon, and if she doesn't get it by October 1st, she's prepared to leave her job at Essentia.
I definitely want to send a message to our employers and to the people that are making these decisions that this is not okay.
Things got heated as two advocates for missing and murdered Indigenous women confronted the anti-COVID-19 vaccine group. But one woman who didn't want to be on camera says despite pushback from some, several people have expressed their support. In downtown Fargo, JC Dodd, Valley News Live.
We reached out to Essentia Health officials who say they respect their colleagues' right to free speech, and they would like to be role models in demonstrating that vaccines have been proven to be the safest way out of the pandemic. And meanwhile, across the river at MSUM, Clay County Public Health hosted a walk-in COVID-19 vaccine clinic. Vaccine coordinator for Clay County Public Health says they wanted to make the COVID-19 vaccine easily available for students, parents, and staff as they return to campus. Today, over a dozen people were vaccinated during the clinic. One MSUM student who took advantage of the clinic says she's happy to have in-person classes return this semester.
This is one of the first decisions that I can make as an adult, and so I wanted to make sure that I was doing it because I wanted to and not because I felt like I had to or people were telling me to. I wanted to do my own research and decided that this is what I wanted.
Clay County Public Health will host another walk-in vaccine clinic on the campus on Thursday. Later on Valley News Live at 10, one little girl who had her wish granted looks to sell cupcakes to help grant wishes for other kids. But first, tomorrow's going to be a first alert weather day. Summer's up next with details on the forecast.